forgiveness.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that for a few minutes and see where it kind of leads us.
Okay, will do. Definitely. I think many times people forget what forgiveness is. I've heard several things out in the world and about forgiveness, meaning if you're going to forgive somebody, you got to forget. And that's nowhere in Scripture by forgetting something that someone had done to you. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. It actually, believe it or not, means to be able to move past it, to be able to go forward, you know. In fact, I tell people all the time that whenever you forgive somebody and still deal with them, that's evidence that you did forgive them. But when you can't deal with a person, maybe there's a problem with forgiveness.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Now, I looked up that word forgiveness.
Okay.
And, of course, you know, it goes back to something that my fourth grade teacher always said, never define a word with the same word.
Okay.
The definition of forgiveness is the act of actually forgiving someone. So when you look up the word forgive, it means to cease to feel resentment against an offender. So that means, by that definition, if you've done something to hurt me, Pastor, then when I forgive you, when I say, okay, I'm no longer holding that against you, then I'm actually forgiving you. That's
right.
The act of that definition, right?
Definitely. That's a great definition. In fact, I'll go even a step further.
Okay.
Forgiveness means that although you might have hurt me and I'm moving past that and dealing with you, it doesn't mean I can give you an opportunity to hurt me again in that way. So, illustration, I give you my car to go around the corner. And then I find out instead of you going around the corner, you done went to a whole nother city, and I find out about it, and you apologize, and I accept your apology and say I forgive you.
Right.
Now, if you come back to me and say, hey, can I get your car and go around the corner, and I say no, it does not mean I didn't forgive you. It just means that I'm not giving you an opportunity to hurt me again.
And you know what, Pastor, I'm glad you said that, because I believe that's where a lot of us have difficulty.
Right.
Not necessarily in the act of forgiving, but sometimes in our mind we think that because I've forgiven you, that I've got to go back and do the same thing all over again or something similar just to show that I've forgiven you.
Right, right. And that's right. You don't have to do that. You don't have to open yourself up to being hurt twice, you know. But the fact that I'm dealing with you, even to the point where you're comfortable to come to me again, is a sign that I forgave you. Because if you didn't feel comfortable to come to me, then apparently you didn't feel that I really forgave you. But I don't have to open myself up to be hurt again.
Now, you know what that makes me think about? I immediately start trying to wonder, okay, now I'm a man of God, you're a man of God. So when I've offended you, I'm automatically going to come back and say, listen, Pastor, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Right.
And I say that in hopes that you would say, okay, brother, I forgive you.
Right.
Now, opposite scenario, I'm not a man of God, all right? So I don't have a desire to even come to you and say, I'm sorry. As a matter of fact, I'm too arrogant to even think about saying that S word.
Right.
What does that do to you? Because, you know, you're the one that's been offended, and that forgiveness is still on your end, not necessarily on mine. You're still the one that's forgiving, right?
Right. Exactly. Well, here's how it goes. I offend you, and I come to you and ask you to forgive me. You didn't necessarily give me that forgiveness.
Okay.
But when I go to God and ask God to forgive me, then that means if God forgives me and you choose not to, now the error is not on my part. It's on your part. But where we have our flaw is we hope to get your approval, and that's not what Scripture tells us to do. Once we sincerely ask for forgiveness and you don't, now you have to answer to God. Jesus said this, and I know you can wrap up, and that is in Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 and 22, when the question was, how often should we forgive? Jesus said 70 times 7. And many people say it's a whole lot, and it is. But you have to look at the context, and the context is, I'm going to keep dealing with you. I'm not going to just leave you hanging. I'm going to deal with you, but I'm going to deal with you cautiously. Jesus does that the same way. When we mess up, he forgives us. He deals with us. But when he knows we can't handle a situation, he don't put us back in that situation where we have to come back to ask for forgiveness.
Okay. All right. I tell you, this forgiveness is an interesting topic because scripture that I've read in the Bible, in the book of Luke, it talks about in order for us to receive forgiveness from God,
Right.
we have to be willing to forgive. And that's part of the message that each one of you that are viewing with us today should receive from this segment.
Yes.
In order to receive forgiveness from God, you've got to be willing to forgive. You got to say, I'm sorry, when it's time to say I'm sorry. And you can't say it in a way that's, I'm sorry. No. You have to really mean it because it's all on you. It's on you to ask for forgiveness, and it's also on you to forgive. Listen, thank you very much for being here with us today. This is an important segment, forgiveness. Don't hold back. Forgive those that you love, and always ask forgiveness from those that you've offended. And as I say always,
Well, one thing I wanted before you give the final sign-off, very quickly, that many people say, if you keep saying, I forgive you, is it genuine? God knows the heart.
God knows our
He
heart.
knows if it's genuine or not.
Yes.
And that's all we could do.
That's all we can do. So don't forget, forgiveness is all you got. Actually, you got more than that. You've got God, a forgiving God, okay? So as we say always, from Conquering Your Day Ministries, now go out and conquer your day.
Thank you.